see the idea that Markle and Harry are innocent victims who are going
to the lies that he was spreading. Couple of examples. Well, your father paid for your security.
Who isn't even able to claim credit for his own goods.
One number in a memoir lit the fuse, 25. He wrote it. He compared fighters to chess pieces taken off a board. Then came headlines, veteran backlash, and adversaries quoting the line for their own ends. He says the media twisted him. Critics say the media just read his pages out loud. Add a 2021 quip calling America's free speech rules bonkers, a TV shift from racism to unconscious bias, and a tabloid war still grinding through court.
Prince Harry did get into a physical fight with his uncle, Prince Andrew.
And you get the question that won't die. Who built this fire, the press or the prince? We'll stick to receipts, pace fast, and follow the sparks. The twist shows up when you least expect it. It didn't start with a headline. It started with sentences on a page. A prince publishes a war memory and assigns it a number 25, framed as the mental math of combat. The lines leave the book and hit the airwaves. Veterans weigh in. Commentators weigh in, officials abroad weigh in.
In all of my time being independent, I have never felt the need for there to be a show that
The number becomes the story, then the backlash becomes the story, and soon the blame becomes the story. Now widen the frame. A couple of years earlier, in a relaxed podcast exchange, he called the First Amendment bonkers, a line critics still replay to paint him as hostile to press freedom. In a high-profile TV interview, he and his wife spoke about racism at senior levels. Later, he publicly reframed that conversation as unconscious bias. In parallel sits another track.
An extraordinary on-air row has broken out about Prince Harry and potential drug
lawsuits against British tabloids over alleged unlawful information gathering, one of which resulted in judicial findings against a publisher. Others continue. A separate group offered a settlement and apology for past conduct. These points are part of the record. The motives behind them are argued from every angle. And in the middle sits the passage that set the tempo. Next comes the paragraph that detonated. The extract is clean and clinical. He says he took out 25 enemy combatants. He says he saw pieces.
Prince Harry has told King Charles he is prepared to ditch Meghan Markle as part...
Not people, because that's how he survived the job. He frames it as painful candor meant to help others speak about war without shame. Supporters hear transparency, detractors hear triumph. Veterans say the number should have stayed off the page. Some call it tactically unwise. Others call it ethically tone-deaf. Security voices warn that exact figures become propaganda shortcuts. Adversaries seize the lines, question the claim, and wield it for their own messaging.
We have a situation, Trevor, where Harry is trying to...
Protests flare. The threat conversation spikes. His camp argues the real danger is sensationalist coverage ripping context away. His critics answer that the coverage quoted the passage. The book supplied the fuel. The internet doesn't wait for nuance. The chessboard turn of phrase becomes a meme. The meme becomes a cudgel. And nuance never survives a meme. That's when the fight shifts from what he meant to who gets to define what he meant. The next beat isn't about soldiers or strategy. It's about storytelling power.
The cover-up over Prince Harry's drug use is in full force.
His position is simple. A reflection on a brutal headspace got framed as a boast. He says commentators without military service moralized a moment from a battlefield they never knew. He says context vanished the second the sentence hit social feeds. The counter is blunt. You wrote the number, you wrote the chessboard line. Editors didn't put those words in your mouth. If veterans react with disgust, that's not a press invention. That's a reaction to a paragraph you published.
So Prince Harry has given another TV tell-all interview yet again to his friends at Woke.
This is where the legal story collides with the cultural story. In court, he wins findings against one tabloid group for past unlawful tactics, phone hacking and other breaches that judges said were real. Elsewhere, litigation continues. Another publisher issues a settlement and apology for historic conduct while disputing parts of his narrative. Supporters say the rulings vindicate years of claims about press behavior. Skeptics reply that those rulings don't erase what's printed in spare.
Harry has lost the public with this interview well and truly, even trying to suggest that members of the royal family...
Both can be true at once. The press can be guilty in one arena and still quote accurately in another. That tension explains why neither side is willing to blink. But this feud didn't begin with the book. It began with a scoop. Before the number, there was Megxit. A reporter breaks the story before the palace is ready. The headline lands, the couple rushes a response, the nickname sticks, and the relationship with parts of the press sours even deeper.
Breaking right now, has Prince Harry become the Pussy Prince? Has he just bottled it?
In the memoir, the prince portrays the journalist with a sneer and alleges cozy ties with the institution. The journalist denies collusion and recounts calls, requests for comment, and timelines that, he says, contradict the insinuation. Why drag that chapter back into the light? Because it explains the worldview. To him, the press feels like a rigged casino. The house always wins. To the press, he looks like a source who wants the table tilted in his favor.
She's finally done it. J.K. Rowling has called out those awful little Harry.
He wants to set the terms and still claim neutrality. The sad little man jab from the book becomes a symbol for the bitterness on both sides. This is not just a clash of facts. It's a clash of control. Next comes the question nobody can sidestep: risk. Strip the personalities out and a hard dilemma remains. Is it wise for any soldier to publish a precise kill count years later? Security thinkers warn that exact figures serve as magnets for threats and propaganda.
I have sat through 5 hours of Polo on Netflix.
Veterans repeat that the culture of service values quiet competence over tallies. Families of service members say public number talk can reopen wounds and oversimplify trauma. On the other hand, advocates for candor argue that burying wartime reality deepens stigma and silence. They say honest, uncomfortable testimony can help others admit what they've seen and felt. He says he wrote the passage to push back against shame. Critics hear self-myth, he hears duty, they hear drama.
Shame on them. Shame on them. How grim can you get?
Both read the same paragraph and walk away convinced the other side is being willfully blind. Meanwhile, online momentum doesn't care who's right. It rewards certainty, punishes context, and keeps the fuse burning. And courts move slower than feeds. In one courtroom, a judge writes that unlawful information gathering by a publisher did happen and that the prince was among those targeted. Damages follow. In another track, a different publisher settles claims, issues an apology for historic practices.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle accused of breaking the law over their so-called duck emergency.
And frames it as closure while insisting current standards are different. A third case edges toward future hearings. Supporters say this is accountability long overdue. Skeptics ask whether courtroom wins will ever change how a viral quote travels. So far, they haven't. A judgment can correct the record about yesterday's tactics, but a shareable sentence still outruns a legal paragraph every single time. That's the asymmetry he's trying to beat, You can win on paper and still lose on platforms. The next chapter is about 3 phrases the internet refuses to bury.
See you in Vancouver, Prince.
serious?
I'll be there. Appreciate you. Oh, shit. Oh, Angela. Why does he...
The number 25 endures because precision is gasoline online. It looks decisive in a thumbnail, ruthless in a caption, and impossible to soften once the meme hardens. The chessboard line lives because it reads cold. Even if the passage tries to describe a coping state rather than a creed, the phrasing feels like philosophy. The internet prefers the harshest reading. Bonkers won't vanish because it was funny. A throwaway reaction to American speech culture now functions as a boomerang every time he complains about coverage.
Prince William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends.
Supporters say the tone was teasing, not tyrannical. Detractors use it as a shortcut. See, he wants control. Then there's the shift from racism to unconscious bias. Backers call it a necessary refinement. Language matters, intent matters, and the conversation benefits from precision. Critics call it retreat under heat. Both interpretations stick because both are useful to someone's narrative. And narratives, not footnotes, win the algorithm. So, what does responsibility look like if nobody gets a clean win?
He's no longer a prince, really, in working capacity. He's had amazing...
Responsibility for him means owning the blast radius of the paragraph, while still naming proven press misconduct when courts establish it. It means admitting the line was a match in a room full of fumes. It also means recognizing that litigation can't launder every public misstep. If he wants the conversation to shift to mental health, platform duty, and law reform, he has to stop feeding the outrage machine new sound bites that drown those goals. Responsibility for the press means quoting cleanly without turning pain into a carnival.
Put it in perspective for us. What's he doing here?
Always, always. I mean, this is a shocking new low, Meghan, because
it means placing the fuller context close to the controversial sentence, not burying it 12 paragraphs down. It means acknowledging past rulings against newsroom practices and acting like trust is rebuilt, not assumed. It means resisting the reflex to reduce every complicated passage to a dunkable image. Neither side loves that extract. One side resents how it's used, the other side resents that it exists. But pretending it isn't the epicenter only guarantees another spin of the same cycle.
it just gets worse for Meghan Markle in Hollywood by the day. This is People magazine. It is celebrating.
If both sides stop playing for viral moments and start playing for clarity, this story shrinks. If not, the quotes will keep outrunning the facts. Where does that leave us? The part almost everyone skips. People who feel chewed up by institutions often write with teeth. Newsrooms that live on deadlines often bite first and verify the nuance later. Veterans guard a culture that resists turning combat into scoreboard math. Adversaries weaponize any clean, cold sentence they can find.
Absolutely in a terrible state. And I don't suppose he's given up all the drugs, even if...
All of these truths can be true together. That's why the debate never ends. Each camp treats its truth as the only one that matters. So watch what happens next, not what trends today. Watch court calendars rather than comment sections. Watch whether publishers keep opening their archives to scrutiny. Watch whether the couple pivots to low-drama service and lets the work speak without constant narration. Watch whether interviewers stop chasing the same 3 quotes and start asking about policy and law.
Breaking right now, growing fears for the state of Prince Harry after he was pictured by...
Those shifts won't light up the algorithm. They will rebuild trust. The algorithm can't measure. Who built the fire? The match was his. The kindling was ours. He struck a line that was always going to burn. We stacked a culture designed to explode. The press poured oxygen because oxygen sells. He poured accelerant because accelerant feels like clarity at the moment you light it. Veterans smelled smoke first. Adversaries waved the flames for show. Courts arrived with buckets labeled past misconduct.
When it comes to Keir Starmer suggesting that British young men
and doused one room while the blaze raged in another. If you're hunting for a single villain, you'll miss the lesson. Words are choices. Coverage is choices. The fallout belongs to everyone who touched the spark. He wrote it, they quoted it, the world reacted. If the goal is less heat and more light, responsibility isn't a trophy one side gets to hold. It's a double-edged mirror. Look straight into it, and you might see the only person who can change this story next. Stay with me, because the next line that leaves a page will test whether anyone learned a thing.